Hello, LGBTQ plus DL men, women who took it love us and support us. I'm going to get ready for this video, although I am already filming it. But the topic, as you can see, is what was already posted. Oh, well, it's on the thumbnail. And I kind of guess I am getting ready for the video. But I also think that I wanted to say this too because I kind of sort of I made like an internal decision to kind of not post these videos, but at the same time I feel the need to not only post it for the reason that it drives attention to the channel, but more to post it for the reason that there's a connection to LGBTQ plus content, and there's also a feeling of being or having to be on the front line when it comes to speaking out on these things. Because if a person is quiet, it's not that balance won't take place, but it's a need also to be a part of the experience of like change for balance, if that makes sense. I also want to speak that I haven't yet seen the new version of The Color Purple. Like, I've seen the old Color Purple when I was younger, but I think I should tell you that I was born in '92, in the year of '92, right? But I haven't seen the new rendition of it. But I will get back to you guys after I brush my teeth. I think I should also mention that I had to thank Spirit because Spirit was trying to bless me. Well, Spirit actually did bless me, or was showing me something that I was trying to manifest. And I didn't understand it until just several minutes ago. So I realized that Spirit wants me to be in joy, and so I made this internal decision to post things that were more of loving and light content. But I also understand that there's a need to go with the flow of the experience. So with that being said, I think that it is important to speak on this topic, right? And it should also be known that I've said this in many videos that my birthday is a day before T.S. Madison's birthday, although she is if I'm 31 and she is spoken about being 46. So she is like 15 more years older than me. Did I do that? Or 14 years? 31, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So yeah, 15 years. She's 15 years older than I am. But what I have noticed within the experience of Libra Scorpio cusp is that, or Libras, is that we tend to see the experience from both sides. And a lot of times we speak out about things that we are either a part of, or I heard the word inclusion, but I want to say that I know I cut off what I was speaking about early, but what I want to say is that, hold on, go that way. Okay. Yeah. So when I first saw the information, because I hadn't seen the new version of The Color Purple, right? But I knew the context of what T.S. Madison was saying. And I think that during my video where I was speaking about Taraji and, you know, that video that is basically speaking about women empowerment, right? Or something around the equality of women being paid, especially not just women but black women, and speaking in a way that is cultured around black and African American people of color, you know, just trying to find the equality, the what can allow us all to feel like we are being valued and seen in our loving individuality, right? And what I want to say is before I get truly into the topic is that what I realized is that when I post a thumbnail that doesn't have, like, sometimes when it doesn't have my face on it or it doesn't have a picture of what I'm doing, it gets clicks, or it gets the views, or at least just gets the clicks, right? Because people want to know about the current gossip that's going on around certain people. Like, I'm pretty sure that people are really invested in Cat Williams and the comedians and things like that. But anyway, I think that it's always important to be on the front line in terms of things that you are passionate about, but also know when to be in stillness and be centered, you know, and allow others to be on the front line too. Anyway, speaking on this, I want to say that prior to this experience happening, T.S. Madison already really had a she was I wouldn't say she was targeting Boosie when she brought him up at the Breakfast Club, right? And she spoke about what he was saying about Little Nas X, and it's kind of like, I think she speaks out towards these people because not only does she have a platform, but she's passionate about this, and, you know, it's kind of like she feels the need to stand up to these people because she needs her voice to be heard. Just like with me doing this video, right? I feel like it's a need for it to be spoken about, because what is the reason, or how can we not what is the reason, right? Because reasoning would it help us to progress forward. What can we do as a black community in a LGBTQ plus community for us to all feel seen and there to be equality within both of the communities? And I'm kind of sensing and hearing and viewing that, to put it in like just a blunt term, that there just isn't going to be that. But on the other side of that, it seems like there is, because there is people that, or there are people that don't agree with homosexuality, or do agree with it, or don't agree with transgender people or transsexual people, or do agree with it. There seems to be a balance, and that's just the balance of life, of light and dark, and duality. But to get into the situation, and, well, not the situation, but to get into the content that y'all all clicked to see, let's start with where T.S. Madison was already checking Boosie over the, I guess I would say it's checking Boosie over the Lil Nas commentary. To keep from it being a copyright issue, I'm going to just speak about the information. It probably won't be verbatim, but just what I remember of it from the Breakfast Club interview. And I think this happened like a couple years ago, but I already had kind of sensed that T.S. Madison hadn't let it go, or hadn't let the issue with Boosie go, and that's it's. I think it sort of had to do with her not understanding what was the issue, because that's what her comment was to Boosie on the interview, on like within the Breakfast Club interview. She was saying, "What's the issue with Little Nas X?" You know, and I don't even know the full context of the beef that Little Nas X and Boosie had, but I just know that it did have something to do with Little Nas X's dad speaking out towards Boosie. And, you know, even in that interview, she spoke up about Boosie and him saying that his sons basically were saying that his sons weren't going to end up gay because he was going to make sure that they were straight. Like he was going to, or what he did was he hired some women allegedly, or you know, he even has said this, you know, via the internet, but was saying that, you know, he hired some women to give his sons, who were like in their teenage, like maybe 13 or something like that, his young sons, oral or fellatio is what they call it. And she brought up that content then. And I think that from a spiritual aspect or spiritual perspective, I have sort of understood why it is important to not speak on another person's experience, for the reason that eventually what they have done to another person will reflect within their own experience. Like I think that when I'm covering this information, it is for a educational purpose, right? Or at least it comes with educational or educational content, right? From a spiritual perspective. And I want to say that, again, my content is never intended to be malicious or unkind to any person that I'm speaking about. But I also kind of made a internal decision, or even not an internal decision, but I kind of saw that my content could be for beings that are Black or African American, people of color, LGBTQ plus community. I feel like I could really target the communities with my content. And not to say that my content isn't for any other ethnic background or any other viewpoint, but I think that that would be more of the target audience, because I am those things, right? We are everything, but I am those things within this vessel. I am a dark-skinned African American male that is experiencing life with feminine energy inside and as a medium. Anyway, to sort of speak about Boosie, right? I think that because Boosie is kind of one of those men that is like, I'm gonna just speak it from how it is being perceived, right? He a hood ass nigga, and he not gonna let no punk ass, he not gonna have no punk ass sons and no gay ass sons, and he want people to leave him alone with that gay shit. That's kind of how he is perceived. But what he allowed his sons to experience kind of seemed like there's something unhealed within Boosie. And I think that T.S. Madison is trying to get him to acknowledge that. And sometimes when we are in our own healing experiences, we try to project our healing onto other people, and that's not always okay. Some things that we have been conditioned to believe, or to believe, some things that we have been conditioned to believe as we are on our path or on our journey, we can choose to continue those thoughts that are negative, or project those ideas into the future that are negative, or we can choose to shift into a loving, more light experience of each other. Now, when people post things on the internet, and I was telling my grandma this the other day, I I posted I posted a video of making macaroni and cheese, and I made two macaroni and cheese. I tried to make a vegan one, but I didn't have like a recipe. I just tried to make it like a regular macaroni and cheese, like the kind that you put in the oven, with the milk, eggs, and stuff. And so the price of that was just, it was kind of high in budget, and plus because I ordered it over the internet. I did it over the internet. Like it was a yeah, like I ordered my groceries that way, right? When they brought it, I didn't have enough cheese for the regular macaroni, and so somebody commented. I said, what they gonna say? If it don't slide down easy, it ain't cheesy. Y'all know Tanara that does the if it don't slide down easy, it ain't cheesy. She does that, right? And so somebody commented, it ain't gonna slide down easy because it's not cheesy, and I didn't have enough cheese. So I think that when people post things, they post, and I wasn't really posting it to not have negative comments, because what if somebody does comment something negative? You just have to be aware of that as a content creator, and learning how to not uh, be offended by it, but understand it. Anyway, the reason that I'm bringing this up is for the reason that Boosie is just speaking out about these thoughts that he has. But the experience of life has to somewhat teach him how to be, how to. I think that T.S. Madison is somewhat coming from the experience of what about LGBTQ plus experiences makes you so uncomfortable that you would speak out about it. And so now we're going to get into kind of what the issue is with the Color Purple movie, that this at least this scene that Boosie saw that had him just kind of like feeling some type of way. And it was the scene with the two female, there's allegedly a lesbian scene. And again, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm just speaking about it from the perspective of what is being heard within the media or seen within the media. And these are the comments that or this is what was said between Boosie and T.S. Madison. And I'm going to read it because I know a lot of people, when they see a lot of information, they be like, I don't feel like reading all of this. So I'm going to read it while it is on the screen so y'all can kind of see. And if you want to pause it and read it for yourself, that is great also. From context of what I have seen, this is what started the Twitter rants, I guess, or the Twitter comments. Boosie made a tweet that said, I had to walk out the Color Purple movie, and he says, and two other older couples walked out also, because I had my little girls with me, and it seemed like he put rainbow love story. Good acting, but whoever wrote the script is pushing the narrative hard. As a parent, I will not let my little girls watch this film. Boosie tweets to T.S. Madison, you seem offended because the truth hurts. Laughing emoji. The movie had great acting, but it's just not appropriate for my little girls to watch. And it's not just me, transsexual Maddie, that feels this way. Shaking my, SMH. Go read all the comments across social media about the film. It's a, in quotation marks, lesbian classic, in quotation marks. But good film, and just cause someone don't agree, that makes them homosexual. So everyone who disagrees is rainbow flag. Maybe you're mad at yourself. You've been mad at me since I told the tranny swimmer, open quotation marks, get out the damn pool, close quotation marks, leave me alone, my nigga. T.S. Madison responds to Boosie with this. Beloved Boosie official, I am not in any way angered at you, sir. There is no accountability ever taken for any of the contributions you add to the demise of our community. Our community, as in black peoples, you have folks agreeing with you because they're just as misguided in their thoughts as you. You again sat with your daughter through all the parts, dehumanizing and demeaning a black woman, sex slave a black woman, and beat a black woman. And the moment she finds love from a woman from up under black men abuse, it's too much. And now becomes a gay agenda. I shouldn't expect much from a man who paid grown women to sexually assault his teenage son and nephew, thinking that makes him a man. No, sir. That makes them and you a mister. As long as you speak on making our existence as LGBT people an agenda to hurt kids, I'll be right here to remind you of your part in damaging kids. Be blessed, beloved. Boosie tweeted, why if someone doesn't agree with the rainbow narrative that's being pushed, why do y'all say that the person who doesn't agree is rainbow? Period. That's bullying. Exclamation marks. We have a right as parents to say it's not cool for a 7 and 9 year old to watch this. We have rights as parents to protect our children as much as we can. I have no problem at all with rainbow people. My granddad was a preacher, Southern Baptist, and I'm just trying to raise my kids with the same beliefs and respect we was raised with. It's just the world will have you in a fight to do so. Exclamation marks. T.S. Madison tweets to Boosie official. We've come to the conclusion that one, you did not read, and two, you cannot read, especially attempting to read me. So she said, sir, pass the basic minimum skills test and then return to have a conversation with me. Let me let you in on a little secret. God made Adam and Eve and Steve, and he even made Timothy. But the acts of predatory behavior on your sons that's been generationally passed from your grandfather to you and now from you to your sons have created a new era of mister. That type of parenting breeds more danger to our community. Yes, our community, honey, because, bitch, I'm black too. Getting pussy don't make you straight or keep you straight, dear. You're the same man who watched thoroughly a man hold his ankles and rode a penis in your former home, excuse me, I meant jail, and you're still fighting that erection to this day. This I had to turn sideways for the reason that it was easier to read this way. Boosie tweets to Trans Maddie. He says, Trans Maddie, T.S. Madison 1, that's not my community, that's your community. And before I said anything, this movie was labeled a lesbian classic all over the internet. SMH. Why are you not going at the sites who labeled it Rainbow Classic? You should be proud. And y'all better start getting your 16-year-old son some pussy. LOL. If not, this world will push them to like the same sex rainbow. We as parents have the right to fight for this being pushed on our kids. It's millions of people don't agree with that what's being pushed on your kids. Let's keep it 100. Almost every movie comes on the first 20 minutes. The agenda is being pushed. You rarely see a man and a woman engaging on films these days. even cartoons, superheroes, etc. They still have millions of people that still believe in traditional households, who still want grandchildren made the right way by a man and woman. It's still millions of people, especially people who were raised in the church house, who want their family to follow Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, or Eve and Erica, or transmedi. And that's our right in our fight. Do you feel no one supposed to disagree or have the right to say we don't think it's cool? It's no hate at all in my heart for rainbow people, but we as parents have the right to say we don't have our kids watching that. We have the right to say we don't want a Maddie in the pool taking our gold medals from our girls who've been swimming and training their whole life. As parents, we have a right to say we feel this is being pushed on our kids and it's not cool with us. As parents, we have a right to want our sons to love a woman and our daughters to love a man. And Maddie, when your male family members didn't agree with you transforming, did you call them homosexuals? No, you didn't. Now I'm hoping that by the time I edit this, I can find the tweet that Maddie responded to Boosie's reaction to, or not his reaction, but his his reaction to seeing the lesbian scene or the woman on woman scene within The Color Purple. Found it. So it says from T.S. Madison, this was the response. So, Lil Boosie, you sat there with your daughter while Celie, daddy, took her second child that he fathered and gave it to the pastor and his wife. You sat there with your daughter while Mr. came and bought her from her daddy at 14. You sat there with your daughter while Mr. enslaved Celie to cook and clean his nasty house with his children. You sat there with your daughter and watched Mr. beat, sexually destroyed, and drag Celie all over the floor. You sat there with your daughter and watched Mr. bring his side chick into the house with Celie. But you got up to leave when you saw Celie finally find love and compassion and some sort of temporary relief from Mister's prison. Then you try and come to social media and bring the "What about the kids, man?" campaign you've been on an attempt to use God to justify you and the people who stand with you to, and they call us delusional. Sir, the character you play in real life is Mr. The daddy, the pastor, and all the other men who abused Celie in that movie, and have the nerve to finally be concerned about what a kiss would do to influence your daughter. There's truly some intervention needed in your life to sort out these homosexual demons you're fighting. Right? But anyway, to sort of have commentary on the, I guess you can say, the Twitter beef or misunderstanding that is happening, I want to say what I am viewing is first, what is like really present is that Bootsy continues to say, but he's sort of explaining or typing it so that he won't get, I guess, flagged as like homophobic, but it is sort of a display of that for the reason that he and T.S. Madison acknowledges that he isn't understanding what she is saying, and that's the problem with um typing things over the internet. Sometimes people aren't always perceiving it the way that you are wanting them to perceive it, and also you can't control the way a person perceives you. And when you become healed, you understand that you can't control the way you are perceived. You have to allow how people view their experience is just the way that it is. And I think that for T.S. Madison, that is something difficult for her. And I know I'm speaking on this because I have noticed even within my experience, it was difficult for me to sometimes have to allow them to experience their experience. That's what you have to do. You have to sit back and allow people to experience their experience. But at the same time, sometimes beings that are actually having a experience can be on the front line for people within the, especially people within the community. But getting back to what I was saying, Boosie said, or he is, what he perceived was, if people are judging him for his thoughts on something like a movie, then they are going to call him. He put the rainbow flag there. He's thinking that they are going to call him gay, that they are saying he is gay. And if this somehow was ever seen by Boosie, that isn't what is being said. T.S. Madison is presenting that it is showing as homophobic, meaning that you have a fear of being perceived as gay. Like you have the fear of people seeing you as being a part of the gay community. And you even said within your, I guess you can say, rant, that, well, Boosie said within his rant, he has no issues with the gay community. He put the rainbow flag, but that's what he meant. And also, Twitter or X, it doesn't allow you to put but so many characters or words in a post. But that's what he meant, right? He meant he doesn't have a issue with the gay community, but what T.S. Madison is saying is that if you can't sit through a scene like that, then that's showing that what you're saying about not having an issue with the LGBTQIA plus community is false, because that's showing that you don't really, you do have like a homophobic tendency, is what T.S. Madison is saying, in a way, right? But yeah, because what she was saying is, if you can sit through all of the things related to abusive content and how men treat women in that negative way, you're able to, you value that over content of same sex experience. And the thing is, when you, I was going to say invoke, when you push the idea of being a certain way, like, I should play this video to show you what he said about his sons, and this is what T.S. Madison brought up within the argument, just for context, right? For educational purposes.
Asking on my nephew who got them they first head. Big dog. Hey, I been got my son up. My 9-year-old, 10-year-old, I showed all of them how to put on rubber. Before you even start having sex, I done show my sons how to put on rubber. Ain't finna get my son no mother out here. I'm training them boys right. Asking them my nephew. Asking them. Ask my son. Yeah. They were 12, 13. They got head. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. Hell yeah, I got my son up. You right.
When this is what T.S. Madison referred to within the Breakfast Club interview, and this is what she is referring to now, because basically what she is saying is that you're taking your child's choice away to choose whether they are going to be homosexual or heterosexual. And within the African American community, that has been a conditioned thing, to live a life of traditionalism. And whether you think about it in that way or not, you are in some ways I heard abuse, but you are in some ways taking their choices away. Although you are trying to set you know, a standard for them. That's understandable. You're trying to set a standard, you're trying to have them live a healthy life, and you also brought up in that video that you wouldn't want them to, it seems like you were saying that you didn't want your children to have any type of disease or have a disease. And being homosexual, this is why I spoke about it in the previous videos, and I've been saying it. Homosexuality is in somewhat tied to HIV and AIDS because that's what people are referring to. Because when AIDS and HIV was a huge thing in the 90s and the 80s or whatever, when it was sort of like a pandemic around HIV and AIDS at that time in the 90s, it would it was more, I guess you can say, prevalent within the LGBTQIA plus community. But now they say that the cases of HIV and AIDS are in women more than it is in men. Think about that. Anyway, I wanted to speak more on the spiritual perspective because I think that this is more important than trying to get a person to accept something that they, some people just are, what my aunt said, they are set in their ways. They see their experience a certain way, and until they have an experience to bring them out of what they're thinking, out of those negative thoughts, then they're just going to be in that type of way, in that way of thinking. And that's also how they say that some people don't awaken to how their own thoughts can cause them discomfort or dis-ease within their experience. And I'm hopefully doing a video about this tomorrow. Anyway, when a person, you know how they have like the 10 commandments, right? In the Bible, I think it is, and one of the commandments is thou shalt not steal. Well, the when you think about it in this perspective, right? A person is having an experience, and when you tell them that this is how it is and it is no other way, and you tell them that they have to be this way, because that's pretty much how most African American people see it. They see that, oh, it should only be Adam and Eve. It shouldn't be Adam and Steve. And many people don't even know about Lilith, which was Adam's first wife. And it is said that Lilith actually, it is said that Adam didn't, and he separated from his first wife Lilith for the reason that they were equal in power. They were equals, and he didn't like that they were equals. It is said that Eve came from Adam, but it is said that Lilith was made equal to Adam. It is saying it like Eve actually was born from Adam, born from the rib of Adam. But with Lilith, it is said in some texts, in some mythology, that Lilith was actually facing opposite of Adam. So they had the same body, but maybe her head was like facing back and his head was facing forward, or you probably couldn't really tell because if they were on the same body, if people were facing Lilith, then Adam was on the other side of that. And that is how I sort of see duality. If we can see it that way, as being equals, when people are seen as, oh, this person is equal to me, then it's a problem. If we should be able to see every other being as an equal to us. Like, that is the whole idea of mirroring. Mirroring is basically to say that another person is basically a mirror for you to learn how to become a better version of yourself or see if there is change, just like you do with a regular mirror. Like when I get ready and I say, okay, like with this camera, I'm seeing that the filter is kind of making my teeth a little yellow, you know? I could choose a different filter. It's kind of like that with people, but you have to understand that it goes beyond the physical body and the appearance of the body. Unconditional love isn't whether a person likes a rock, a dog, or a cat, or likes pussy or dick. It's not about that. It's the soul mirroring back what you need to be the best version of yourself. And when I last or not last spoke about it, but when I've spoken about being gay within the past, I kind of felt like being open with being a gay man, right? When my mom was just like, she had these thoughts that that I was doing something with my little brother. That is just the way that just a thought that she, I guess, was conditioned to believe from the experience of other gay people, is that we like to sleep with other men, or it doesn't matter the age of a child. But this is what I was going to bring up, because, and before I speak about that, I want to say that I was saying, even if a person was like, oh, you should be straight or you should be heterosexual, but even if a person says that, I'm still going to like a man. I'm still going to like the anatomy of a man, just the way a man likes the anatomy of a woman. And even if, like, this is what I was going to say. If Boosie ever saw this, I would want him to kind of, sort of try to reflect on it in this type of way. The same thing that he did with his children by allowing a woman to, perform oral sex on them. What if there was another parent that forced, and so this is, of course I'm making it dramatic, but I'm making it dramatic so that it is understood. What if another parent did the same thing to their male child, but instead of it being a woman, it was a male? What if it was them forcing a male to be on their child? Of course, that would be like absurd. No, it can't be that way. My child ain't gonna be gay. But if they if you would think that that would scar a child, if you would think that that would scar a child, wouldn't it be the same for a woman doing that? Even if it wouldn't, right? Because you thinking that you're teaching them to do it. It's just like with my mom saying that, or parents saying, oh, it is meant to be man and woman. Even though it's meant to be that way, I think that gay people are kind of like, or to say it so it is understood, right? Even if a person says, oh, you should like this, but if you like something else, you're just going to like something else. Like if a person says to another black person, right? You like fried chicken and Kool-Aid, don't you? And if that person says no, they like, black people like in the uproar. You don't like macaroni and fried chicken and Kool-Aid? And it's just like, you black, you supposed to like that. That sounds kind of ignorant, right? Overall, the point that I'm making is, oh, of course, fried chicken, macaroni, and Kool-Aid. I've changed my eating habits to, sort of fit my health standards, I guess, or I found a balance in eating those things. But the thing is, and I thought about this in the idea of dating people. A lot of times, because people don't have an open mind to the experience of life, it's difficult to find people that are worthy dating material. Because some people, And this is also why I often try not to speak on outdated things that are very, very outdated, for the reason that if we continue to bring up the past, we're just remanifesting old patterns instead of allowing what is to be. Like when we're in the present moment, and there's this book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and he speaks about the experience of being present and what it means to be present. There's also this knowing that the future and the past exist in the now moment. Like they're only being the now moment, right? And I explained this to my cousin, being like this: if we didn't have the Bible, or we didn't have any type of text or anything like that from the past, and we weren't worried about the future, what would actually come up in conversation? What would actually be the experience of life if we only allowed everything that is of the now moment to be within the now moment? Like right now, not even thinking about a couple seconds ago or the last couple of words that were happening, what would be a part of the conversation? Within meditation, that is somewhat the idea of meditation. It's being centered in the now moment so much that is there isn't a meaning that there isn't thought. There isn't thought. But to truly exist in the now moment would mean that it would only be the experience of what is happening right now. So just for a minute, or a couple seconds, what was being thought about? Nothing, because you were waiting for me to say something, and I finally did. But in that moment where you were waiting for something to be said or something to be heard, there was complete stillness. And if we could all understand stillness, there wouldn't be there would be a greater understanding of the experience of being a human. For the closing commentary of this video, I think that it's important also to speak about another passage in the Bible that I kind of have a different perspective on, and a lot of individuals bring it up in conversation, is that man should not lay with man as he lays with women. And while I understand that passage in its capacity and things like that, I think that when people write any type of text, they're writing it from their perspective, right? And it's okay to have a different perspective. That is the whole point of this human experience, is for us to experience each other and experience that there is duality, that people are going to have different perspectives over your perspective, or over their perspective. There are people that truly understand what bossie is saying from what they have been conditioned to believe to be true, and there are people that understand what T.S. Madison is saying from her point of view, and there are people that understand both sides of the experience of what they are both saying, right? And I think that there is no right and wrong, right? There's just the experience that teaches us what is right and wrong for ourselves, and we are able to make decisions on what is best for our experience. And it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but I think that as human beings, it's not meant for us to uh, it's not meant for us to place judgment, but in the same sense that is also false, because our spirit is recognizing the experience that we're having of another being, which is actually making the decision. So God is experiencing other beings through us, and the perspective that we're experiencing them on is also allowing the teachable experience to happen within that other being's experience. Like, basically, our human existence is so that God can experience itself. So within us, God, and in another being is also God, and we have to become aware that we are both experiencing God within our experience. So if we can see beings as in the image, I think that when people say you're made in the image of God, or some people say Jesus Christ, but we understand what they're saying when they say these things. My great aunt, her boyfriend, he pronounced my name Kelvin, and my name's Kevin. It's pronounced Kevin, and I spoke to him saying, well, my name's pronounced Kevin. It's not Kelvin, right? And he said, well, I was talking about you. And he said, well, you knew what I meant when I was saying that. And so, although I'm commenting on that to say that sometimes we have to become aware that some people, is not that they mean harm, and we have to learn how to not uh, experience things in an offensive way, and just become aware that of the context of what they're saying. And with then this being the media, sometimes things can be misunderstood. But anyway, the text that I was speaking about, like, men should not lay with men as with women, right? I think of how being a twin flame, and I've spoken about it in many videos, so I'm not going to get too detailed into that. But with Adam and Lilith, they are seen as equals, and the idea of a twin flame is that you share the same soul. And the mythology of Adam and Lilith, to kind of paint a picture for you, is that they were on the same body, and they were facing opposite ways, right? Their heads were facing opposite ways, but they had the same body, which meant that they were equals, to kind of paint a picture. And when we think about divine feminine and divine masculine energies, right? We are saying these terms, divine feminine and divine masculine, so that people can understand the energies, not to paint a vesseled bodily image, because I think that when people hear divine feminine and divine masculine, they only think of a female's body and a male's body. And the thing with energy is, I've heard that it knows no boundaries. And with that being said, divine feminine energy can exist within a male. Divine masculine energy can exist within a female's body. So the energies can, be in either bodies. And I think that being on the twin flame journey, I have understood a deeper experience of energy. But to explain it in short for this video, the idea of unconditional love is that you have to know that your path is your path. And with my experience being that I am a divine feminine experiencing this human experience in a male body, and my divine counterpart is a male with divine masculine energy experiencing this experience. And this path itself, we have to overcome these conditioned beliefs that life can only be experienced traditionally, like feminine energy only being in the female and masculine energy only being in a male, because it can't exist like masculine energy being in a female and feminine energy being in a male and them experiencing life together. We have to see the union within everything. The circle of life is what they call it. And there are so many clues that tell us that this is the way life is, but there are some people that are just stuck in conditioned ways of thinking. And beings that are considered chosen are on the journey of unconditioning these ways of thinking and these ways of being, and we are considered on the front line, allowing and helping others to discover their path to enlightenment and to discover this experience. Because my phone is, down to 2%, I planned on watching a movie soon. I just want to say that, again, my content is never to be malicious or unkind to any being, and we can create a much more loving experience if we understood that, you know, our experience is the teacher. We don't have to hold on to outdated texts, although they have context that can help us experience bliss and experience, or there are stories that have context that help us understand the experience of life, right? And these stories have been dated back thousands of years. We can truly create a story that is the experience of what we are experiencing now. But anyway, I hope that you received something from this video, and look forward to new content. And until we meet again, Tootaloo, I love you.